In the spirit of the holidays, we want you to celebrate with your favorite Wager Talk or Sports Memo handicappers and do it at a discount by giving you a one-time 25% off everything you can fit into your cart between now and midnight on December 25th using coupon code GIFT25 when checking out. While this coupon can only be used once at Wager Talk and once at Sports Memo, the value is unlimited and there is no limit on what you can add to your cart when redeeming. Daily, all access, season, pick your team, and even mix and match handicappers as the combinations are endless. Remember, there is no limit to the number of handicappers at Wager Talk and Sports Memo you can lock in, but coupon code GIFT25 will expire at midnight on Christmas. On behalf of everyone at Wager Talk, Sports Memo, and Gold Sheet, we want to thank you for supporting us in 2022 by watching our videos, following us on social media, and trusting us with your wagers. However you celebrate, we wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Hey guys, welcome in on a very happy Thursday to you now, December the 22nd, holiday weekend coming up, but more importantly, we got plenty of bowl games still to happen. Of course, we got to crown a national champion in due time and lot to cover here, including 4 more bowl games we're going to break down. Cheez-It Bowl, Pinstripe Bowl, Texas Bowl, Holiday Bowl, all for you guys to hop on in about. We're going to do it, of course, with 3 of the best at wagertalk.com as we welcome back in Mr. Dave Cokin in the house. Adam Trigger is here, as is Drew Martin on this Thursday, guys. Just a little over a week away from a new year. We'll have a new college football champion. And hopefully we'll all have a little extra money in our pocket here because you guys, all 3 of you, continue to dominate in college football here. And Drew, continuing to roll on here in this college football season. What do you got going on at wagertalk.com? Any other bowl games locked and loaded for us?
Well, Joe, I mean, a 10-2 run in college football, but I am off an 0-2 night last night, so you know how this business goes. Need a winner coming up, and I feel like we're breaking down 4 games here. Find a couple of them. Also, off the 0-2 night, losing money in the stock market today. Talk about buying low, Joe. Need to kind of hit this up ramp here, guys, and coming into Christmas. So kind of feeling like a little bit of a bounce back. If it doesn't go bounce baig, we're going to get real low here, Joe, and we don't want to go there.
We don't want to go there, Drew. There's plenty of bowl games to get right back up on that horse here. Trig, what is going on, man? Crushed it this year. #1 in units gained, I believe, across all football this season. I know you got a 5% NFL best bet you talked about yesterday, locked and loaded, ready to go. Is that for tonight or is that for this weekend?
Yeah, so the NFL 5%er goes this weekend. I have a 4%er in the NFL tonight. First of all, Drew, you need to have like a bad week to be like buy low. I think you've had 2 bad days like the past month, so you're going to be fine right there. And
hey, but, Trig,
and yeah,
Trig, I bet South Alabama last night. They lost by 3 touchdowns, man. I'm not. It's one of those games where it's just, man, it rips your heart out. You know what I mean?
You don't lose more money if they get beat, do you? Like by 3 touchdowns, right? So we're good. You're good.
Yeah, Joe, that's...
Wait a minute. What? I had South Alabama, too. Those losses don't rip your heart out. The game was over in the first quarter.
Bingo.
That's it.
Yeah,
the games that rip your heart out are where you lose it at the end. Those suck. We had no chance with South Alabama last night. Never had a prayer.
Oh, I say that all the time. If I'm going to lose, I'd rather lose by 100. I don't want to lose the close game. I don't want to lose like I lost last weekend with Pepperdine plus 5.5 or plus like 6, go to overtime and lose. Yep. Don't want to do that. I want to get steamrolled, lose by 50, just be on the wrong side and move on. I actually had 3 the opposite. I went 3-0 last night. Every winner was a complete blowout. I had Western Kentucky. I had San Francisco in college hoop. They won by 40. And Coppin State won outright as a 14-point dog. So I'm coming off a really nice day, and I'm hoping I can carry it into tonight. Like I said, NFL play is up. College basketball play is up. I posted a 4% college basketball play for free. 5% NFL goes on Saturday. So hopefully this is going to be a great holiday weekend. Looking forward to it.
All right. No reason not to make it here, guys, before the end of the year. And, of course, Dave Cokin, #1, guys, all time in overall profits here at wagertalk.com. 356 net units since 2018. When you came on board here, Dave, it's just been one consistent profit rolling machine here. And I do believe you've got is there a bowl game that you got locked and loaded coming up here?
Well, I mean, I'll tell you what it was. I have the Air Force, but I've got him at 6.5. And it's 3.5 now, so I really wouldn't recommend it at that much lost value. I do have 2 college basketball plays tonight. One is a best bet. I've only had 2 of those so far, and they both won. So we'll see what happens there. A couple of hockey games as well. So just look to keep it going.
Let's get it rolling here. All right, 4 college bowl games here. We're going to preview for you guys, see if we can't find some edges, and, of course, the best bet coming up at the end. But let us start with the Holiday Bowl as North Carolina taking on Oregon here. Oregon just over a 2-touchdown favorite. The total, shocking to nobody, 73.5. This one coming up on the 28th at an 8 o'clock kickoff here, and not shocked to see that big a total here, Dave. Will it live up to the entertainment value that total says it will?
I don't think this is going to be a real entertaining game because I think it might be a roast. Both teams have absences. The offensive coordinators are gone. A lot of players on both teams. Oregon's missing their best defender, Gonzalez, who's going to the NFL. That's offset by Downs, not playing for North Carolina, who's their best receiver. I think the big key, though, is that the North Carolina defense isn't any good to begin with. And they really got hurt by defections in the secondary. They lose 3 starters. So you're taking an already weak part of this team and subtracting 3 starters. That's trouble. I think Oregon's going to be able to do whatever they want on offense in this game. And I think it's going to be a slaughter. I don't see North Carolina competing in this game. I expect Oregon to win this by 3 touchdowns or more. So that'll give you a clue as to who I like for the top play here in the show. I have not bet it yet. It's really high in terms of the number, but I think with good reason.
Yeah, this says it all right there. I mean, the spread talks to it there, Drew, doesn't it? Over 2 touchdowns here. Market's thinking, yeah, expect Oregon to score and score often. How about you?
Sure, Joe. Absolutely. I mean, you look at this game and you break it down, both offense and defense, kind of comparing the two. It all points offense. Both offenses ranking top 15 nationally, and both defenses outside the top 75. So what's that? Like bottom 55 nationally. So this is going to be all offense in terms of what unit dominates, in my opinion. I thought Dave brought up a good point in terms of watching the coordinators in these bowl games. When they leave, you know, just it can at times be very important to how the team kind of performs. I will say this about both quarterbacks, though. I think both quarterbacks are really good. Bo Nix, we also get May going for UNC. Does the Oregon OC leaving, keep in mind Dan Lanning is more of a defensive guy, might kind of keep me off of laying the big number here, more than 2 touchdowns with Oregon, plus having to defend that UNC offense. The back door could be open. But I do agree with Dave. Oregon does look like the side that might blow them out. But even more so, Joe, I just think that this number 73, it's one of those, it is high for a reason. I think both of these 2 teams have a score fest here. I like it up and over. Last note, Petco Park, where the Padres play, Southern California. Weather should be good. We're still 5 days out, but Southern California, usually not that bad of weather. So I like it up and over here, Joe.
All right, expects the points to come rolling in. Trig, how about you? I believe Bo Nix already coming back from what we understand. Oregon had a great early signing period there, one of the top 2 or 3 in the country. So things are rolling for the Ducks here. Do they roll this game?
Well, Joe, no one hated North Carolina this year more than me. Probably played against them more than I did, which seemed like every week. for a lot of the reasons Dave mentioned, but I'm finding myself, I don't want to say I like them here because I haven't bet it yet, but I'm going to play devil's advocate because I am leaning toward their way plus the points. I think it might be too many points for that North Carolina offense in this type of game. And the type of game, meaning bowl game, Holiday Bowl, it feels like Oregon might be a little unmotivated for this one. I mean, this is an Oregon team that really was, probably disappointed that they weren't playing in the Pac-12 title game for a college football playoff spot because they saw USC, a team that many thought Oregon was better than coming into the season, get that chance. And that was pretty much, they had the chance up until the end of the season when they lost to the likes of Washington, Oregon State, to sort of play themselves out of that spot. So I have to question the motivation on the Oregon side. North Carolina has actually performed as an underdog this year, 3-1 against the spread. The only one they didn't cover as a dog was that conference title game against Clemson, which I really thought was a good spot for Clemson. So I'm not going to dock them too much for struggling in that spot. There are guys out in the North Carolina defense, but the North Carolina defense has been horrific this year. So I don't know how much that matters as like a reason that they wouldn't give up points. For me, I don't know that the disparity in defenses, at least what it's perceived in this game, matters maybe as much because it's a bowl game. North Carolina's offense is going to have time to prepare. I don't love this game. I haven't bet it yet, but I can see reasons to like North Carolina plus the points. Again, not something I bet so far, but I think this number is a little bit high if you're going to give me the key number of 14.5.
Side note, guys, both teams, by the way, offensive coordinators will not be there. Yep. North Carolina's coordinator is now the Wisconsin offensive coordinator, and I believe the Ducks OC is not a head coach at Arizona State. So a little bit of a change there. Should be an interesting game, given that total, though, to say the least, with North Carolina taking on Oregon. We'll move to the Texas Bowl. And what would the Texas Bowl be? Well, without a team from Texas, damn it. Texas Tech taking on Ole Miss. 3.5 is the number here. Ole Miss will come into it as the favorite. 69.5 as the total here. So Lane Kiffin here. Dave, is he somebody you would back in this spot?
I'm leaning that way. An interesting thing on Mississippi, if you look at the list of opt-outs and transfers, basically the guys that Ole Miss lost, Kiffin basically told them, you may as well leave because we've got a lot of guys coming in and you're just not going to play here. So I don't think they're any big deal on Ole Miss. And the guys that are playing, they're going to be a part of next year's team as well, for the most part. This comes down to conference strength for me. If you've got decent teams from the SEC and a decent team from the Big 12, give me the decent team from the SEC. I think the edges are with Ole Miss. I'm not in love with it at the line because they are favored, but that's the side I would look at.
All right, leaning towards Ole Miss, conference strength there. Drew, I believe Tyler Shaw is going for Texas Tech. I don't think Morton was injured, and I don't think he's going to be ready last I checked. So they're going to have a slinger there at Texas Tech. Are you backing the dog here in the Texas Bowl, or is Ole Miss the route for you?
It's a tough one for me, Joe. I mean, to your quarterback, talking about that, it's a team that played, 3 different guys. I don't know that I would penalize them too much for having their quarter or downgrade them too much for having their quarterback out. But I see the thing with me with Texas Tech, they covered 3 straight to end and in my notes, watching the games each and every week, I kind of have Texas Tech as look to bet on going into bowl season. It's their 4th bowl in 9 years. I think they're going to be excited to be there. Pretty good contingency. And also Ole Miss should have a pretty good contingency in Houston here, NRG Stadium, where the Texans play. It's their looking at Ole Miss, third bowl game in 7 years. I would have thought that they would have went to more bowl games. But either way, Lane Kiffin coaching them up. Offense top 7 nationally. I think Ole Miss will be able to score. I do think Texas Tech will be able to score as well. Ole Miss did outgain their opponents in 10 of 12. So to Dave's point, the tough schedule playing in the SEC West, I do want to respect that. But at the same time, I think I'm not looking to bet against Texas Tech, especially laying the hook on the 3. Tough one sidewise for me, Joe. And to tell you the truth, if you made me bet it right now, I'd probably be on the Red Raiders plus the 3 in the hook.
All right. Well, it was funny, Trig, Drew brought up 3 quarterbacks. One of those quarterbacks that, tried to hold the fort down, Donovan Smith, I believe, is already in the transfer portal. So Shao is going to be, it's his gig here. So with Mort not available, is it enough to make you want to back Texas Tech here in this?
No, it's not, Joe. I like Ole Miss in this game. I think to go back to last year, Ole Miss embarrassed in their bowl game by Baylor. I do think that there's going to be maybe a little bit of a sense of we need to take care of business in this game because I think they lost the game 21-7. It was never really close, if I remember correctly. But the point here is, Ole Miss, I have them a little undervalued. They struggled down the stretch in the regular season, but as Dave alluded to, they play in a very tough conference, and they played some very difficult games. Their schedule, more so than any I can remember, of other teams in that conference was stacked with sort of winnable games for the first 8-9 weeks, and then got very difficult. So I put a little bit of less stock into the poor end of the regular season, I suppose, because they had so many tough games sort of stacked in a row. Texas Tech, they did win out last 3 games. They were outgained in all 3 of them, which is definitely a concern for me when it comes to Texas Tech here. I think the key to this game is going to be the Ole Miss offense. If Texas Tech can't stop Ole Miss's offensive attack, I think they could get blown out. Haven't bet this one yet either. I've been waiting on some of these bowl games for, obvious reasons. But right now, the only way I could see myself going would be to lay the small number. I just think this sets up as a better spot for Ole Miss than it does Texas Tech.
All right, there you go. Ole Miss it is here, guys. That'll be a good one. Texas Bowl. We'll head to the Pinstripe Bowl here, where Syracuse will be taking on Minnesota. Minnesota 9.5-point favorite in this one. Total is, I believe, right around that 42 mark. Interesting matchup. I mean, great season for Dino Babers in Syracuse there, Dave, and Minnesota. Well, it could have been better. At least that's what they would tell you. But what do you think of this matchup and this number here?
I remember talking about Syracuse. It was a game. Adam was on the show, and we both liked Syracuse, and they came through. I don't remember who the opponent was. NC State.
It was NC State.
Yep.
Right. But we said at that time that, they're unbeaten, but they're a fraud. They're not that good. And that turned out to be accurate. They're not that good. And now they lose, to me, their best player, Sean Tucker. That is a huge loss at running back. So I have my doubts as to where Syracuse is going to create offense in this game. Not sure who's playing Minnesota, quarterback for Minnesota, but I don't think it's going to be Morgan. He's got a second concussion. Apparently he's been very limited in practice, so it looks like the freshman's going to play. But I just don't see Syracuse being able to generate much offense here. So they're going to have to play a really good defensive game. And Syracuse is going to have to be staunch against one of the better running backs in the country. I don't think they can do it for 60 minutes. I think Minnesota eventually gets them here. Big enough number to give me pause for concern, but the Golden Gophers look like the right side.
Yeah, I believe, BJ, Minnesota, I think they won, 4 of the final 5 that they had this season. So they come in pretty decent form here, Drew. Is it enough to get you to lay the 9.5 against Q's?
They did, Joe, to your point, winning 4 of their last 5. They beat Rutgers, Nebraska, Northwestern, and Wisconsin. They did lose to Iowa in those last 5 weeks. And combine that with the fact Syracuse, losing 5 games against the spread down the stretch, kind of tells me they're just a little bit overpriced in the marketplace. To Dave's point, kind of being a fraud after that great start. can make the argument for sure. Offensive and defensive coordinators are gone. So, Dino Baber is going to have to coach them up here. I guess you could say, make the argument. They're catching 10 points right now. The market loving Minnesota from 7 up to 10. And with a total of 42 catching 10 profile-wise, that might point you towards the dog just because not a whole lot of scoring. I don't know. I don't think I can get there back in Syracuse. At the same time, I don't want to lay double digits with this kind of total on the Golden Gophers, trying to row the boat here. They might get it done, but at the same time, it being in Yankee Stadium, this time of year, watch the weather, guys. We're still a few days out. But, Joe, 42, low total. I don't think there's a whole lot of scoring. If you need a bet right now, I'd go towards the under.
Good. That's good. That's a good call too. I mean, Trig, both of these coaches, Dino Babers, BJ Fleck, pretty good in bowl games. I think 5-0 combined together. But I think Q has lost their DC. If I'm not mistaken, he's now over in Nebraska, and the offensive coordinator is also gone. He's at North Carolina State. So, are you wearing the Syracuse shirt? Because I know when you wear that sweatshirt, it usually means you're going against them. So, what's going on?
Similar to the North Carolina game, I'm gonna try to make a case for Syracuse here because I do lean that way at where the number is right now. So first of all, I think Syracuse right now coming into this game has something that's almost more valuable than maybe the guys that are not going to playing, and that's the rest that they had from the end of the season until this game is being played. Because after that Clemson game, Syracuse was insanely banged up, and it really plagued them for the rest of the year. So you can point to the schedule getting more difficult, or maybe Syracuse kind of, turning into what we thought they might be. But a big reason that Syracuse struggled, and they played awesome in the Clemson game. I went to that game. They should have won. I mean, they could have won. Let me say they could have won. They played excellent up to that point. And in the subsequent weeks, it really was injuries, fatigue, Schrader being banged up, Schrader missing time, and they're going to have Garrett Schrader here, and they're going to have a healthy team. So the guys that are going to be on the field for them are going to be healthy and ready to play, specifically their defense, which is very good. Dave mentioned it. Their defense is going to have to ball out here, Joe, for them to cover this number, potentially win this game. But that's where I think they have a chance because I'm not buying the Minnesota offense. Morgan's probably not going to play. I don't think Calic Manis is very good anyway. So whoever Minnesota has at quarterback, yes, Ibrahim could run wild here. I mean, it's possible, but you've got 3 weeks or a month to game plan and figure that out. I think the number has been bet up way too much. So I haven't bet it yet, but this is one. There's a possibility that I'm going to come in with Syracuse at some point here, especially if that number continues to get high. I think I saw 10s. I don't know if it's still up there. Syracuse 13-4 against the spread in bowl games. You mentioned that Dino has won both or has covered both bowl games during his time at Syracuse. I just think the number is too high. I know they have opt-outs, guys missing, coordinators changing, but I'm just not high enough on Minnesota to come in here and lay 10 points at Yankee Stadium. It's gonna be a pro Syracuse crowd most likely. A lot of Syracuse alum down in the city there. So yeah, I lean Q's plus the points. I just think it's way too many.
All right, Q's leaning towards it, not trusting Minnesota to get it done by margin. That leaves us with one other bowl game we're going to break down for you here, and I take you to Orlando, Florida, for the Camping World Stadium and the Cheez-It Bowl. We don't love a good Cheez-It here. Florida State, talk about, I wonder what the crowd is going to lean here. -9 here for State taking on OU. 65.5 is a total. December 29th, guys, at 5:30. Now, my goodness. I mean, at last count, I believe the Sooners had 15 players in the transfer portal. And I think 3 or 4 actually opted because of the NFL draft out. So I know Dylan Gabriel's still there, Dave. I would imagine Florida State going to have the fans in their corner here. Do you like Florida State in order to be able to cover by distance here?
Yeah, of the games we're talking about, this is the one I like the best. Oklahoma's had a bad season, and it's gotten worse.
Mm.
Gray, he's probably their best player on offense. He's heading to the NFL. The two tackles are also not playing. They're heading to the NFL. So, I mean, that's some key personnel that's gone from a team that has had a lousy season anyway. I think I like almost anybody against Oklahoma here.
Yeah.
The fact that Florida State has really picked up momentum as the season's going along. You're going from having a coach who might have been in the hot seat the first month of the season to being very secure now. I think everything favors Florida State here. I'll be anxious to see if one of the other guys can make an argument to talk me off it, but I think Florida State's an easy winner in this game, and it will probably end up on my card, and it is going to be my best bet here in the show.
Yeah, I mean, listen, well, I know Mims or actually, I'm sorry, Jordan Travis, rather, is coming back for another season. I know there was a lot of excitement around that, Drew. They're going to get the quarterback back, no transfer portal. Certainly, Florida State and their future looking very bright, and they're happy here in the state of Florida. You know that. So they're going to be excited to go out there in this game against OU. Are you backing them, though, with Dave?
Sure, Joe. And to your point, I mean, it seems like this fan base is getting a little excited here with signing day, Mike Norvell. And I don't know about you, Joe. Sometimes Florida State fans, when they get on their high horse, they're a little bit difficult to deal with. So I don't know if we want them getting too good here in the offseason. But all joking aside, no, Dave, I'm not going to talk you off of it. I mean, Florida State winning 5 in a row, plus 67 against the spread points as well, going 4-1. Their last 5 against the spread, meaning they're beating the closing line. So they're being underpriced towards the end of the season as well. It looks like a lot of positives coming out of the Florida State camp. They're returning their quarterback as well. Oklahoma just kind of a mess right now, Joe. Not a team that I'm looking to bet right now. A couple points I did want to make about Oklahoma. 26 straight years making a bowl game. That's pretty impressive from a program standpoint. We'll see if they can keep that going forward. In Florida State, 4 consecutive losing seasons. They'll be excited to be in bowl season. And last thing here, a rematch of the 2000 national championship, Joe. If you remember Chris Winkie and Josh Heupel going at it in a 13-2 game in 2000 at the Orange Bowl that I attended, Joe. I was in high school, and no joke, I ran on the field after the game celebrating with Oklahoma. I don't know. They just were letting people go on the field back in the day. So we'll see the rematch, but no, I like Florida State here if you're making me bet it, laying the 9.
I think Winkie was like 30, right? Wasn't he
Yeah.
like 30? He was like 30 when that year. Yeah, no, I remember it far too well, unfortunately. Talk to me, Trig. What are you thinking here? You've done a pretty good job of talking about the other side here. Is there a case to be made for Brent Venables and this OU team?
I guess the only case to be made is how huge this would be for Brent Venables if he could somehow win this game. Just to take something from this year into next year. But I don't really want to make that case with my money or back that. I've been anti-Oklahoma since early in the season. Since I bet UTEP against them, and they couldn't get through the back door despite being down on the 10-yard line. But I made all that money back and more by betting against Oklahoma this season, Joe. So I'm not. I've thought right out of the gate that they weren't very good. They completely tanked, and I never even tried to jump back in with them because they're just kind of a mess, and now they're going to go play a bowl game in Orlando, Florida, in front of likely all Florida State fans. So I mean, it's very similar to a couple of the other games we've talked about in the respect that there's a big number, and you're really gonna the other side has some issues, but at least you get the big number. I could stomach it with Cuse against Minnesota. I have no interest in getting involved with Oklahoma. I haven't liked this team all year, and I'm not gonna disagree with Dave and Drew. They both make good points, and yeah, It's hard for me to make a case for Oklahoma here. I guess they could hang around, but it's not something I'd be interested in backing with my money.
Dave, it's interesting too because Gabriel and Mims, right, the quarterback and the wide receiver for OU, they still haven't announced what their plans are. If they're transferring, if they're staying, they're giving the old, let's wait until after the guy. I mean, that can't be promising for OU that either of those kids are coming back. No.
No, and I'll swing into the best bet segment here since that's what we're going to. There's just not a lot of positives on the Oklahoma side right now. There are a ton of positives on the Florida State side, and something I didn't mention, I've got some pretty good contacts down in the Tallahassee area. And it's not so much about this bowl game as maintaining positive momentum, because the Florida State fan base, now maybe they're talking out through their hats, and maybe it's over-optimism, but they're already looking forward to next season and being the favorite in the ACC and making a run at a playoff spot. So things have really changed as far as the outlook for the Seminoles go. And I think that's important to Mike Norville. He wants to maintain that positive mindset. And losing a game that they really should win would be a bad thing. So I think there's a lot of emphasis on this game for Florida State, and I expect them to get there. Oklahoma's going to have a really good day throwing the ball. And with the two offensive tackles out, I don't know about the protection for the quarterback. I think it's an easy win for the Seminoles.
Top 3, too, defense against the pass. So Dylan Gabriel's going to have his work cut out for him here in this one. How about it, Drew? Best bet for you here? Is there one of these games you like a little more than the rest?
Yeah, I'll go to the first game, UNC and Oregon. Just to recap it real quick, up and over 73, Joe. Two good quarterbacks, both offenses top 15 nationally, and both defenses bottom 55 nationally. So I think we go up and down, high scoring, loose atmosphere in Petco Park, Southern California, as long as the weather holds up, which I think it will, looking out, Joe. 73. I just think it's a little bit too low. I see it finishing maybe something like, 45, 35, something like that. Get up and over 73, North Carolina and Oregon.
Oh, much healthier. Bo Nix and company should be exciting there with Oregon. How about it, Trig? Best bet here? One of these that you're looking at?
I'm going to go with a different game. I'm going to go to tonight's game. My best bet's going to be Baylor -3.5. Listen, I have not heard anyone on Baylor tonight. If you have Air Force +6.5, that's great. Like you have a nice bet right there. But I think this number has moved a little bit unnecessarily. CT Betts, as you know, my good buddy, Baylor alum, he's got some good contacts down in Waco. And the people that have opted out for Baylor, outside of Ike, the defender, the defensive tackle, are not huge in terms of like being a big deal to the number, at least in our opinion. And, the Mountain West, not a great conference this year. We saw San Jose State get run out by Eastern Michigan. I kind of think this number should be more what it was. It's moved down to 3.5. I think I'm getting a little bit of a bargain on Baylor at that number. If Baylor comes to play here, I expect them to win this game. I also don't think it's a great matchup for Air Force. Baylor can run and control the clock as well. I just don't agree with the move. So at the current number of 3.5, I think Baylor's a pretty good bet. Haven't heard many people on them, Joe. You know what that usually means.
Yep.
If Baylor shows up, I think they win this game. And I'll take my chances that if they do win this game, it's going to be by more than a field goal. So Baylor -3.5 will be my best bet for the show.
Yep. Well, they fired her. Go ahead, David.
Quick note, by the way.
Sure.
Very windy tonight. As far as the weather protection goes, very windy. So this might be a game where you're seeing a whole lot of running. We know Air Force is going to run the ball. And I think Baylor's probably going to run the ball as well, because throwing in 35 to 40 mile an hour winds, not real easy. So this could be a pretty fast moving game on the ground.
Very, yes, absolutely. Maybe even a under we're taking a look at here, guys.
I wouldn't argue against that.
Yeah,
I would not argue against that.
It's going to be, going to be interesting between that and a Monday night game. Woo, boy. One more time here, guys. The best bets here. UNC, Oregon, over 73 for Drew. Trig likes Baylor. He thinks the value is there with this number at -3.5. But Dave says, yeah, it's going to be a long season here for OU. Florida State getting it done, laying the 9 there in Orlando, coming up with that bowl game. And don't forget, guys, if you head over to wagertalk.com, take advantage right now of that holiday special. Use the code GIFT25. That's GIFT25. That'll give you an opportunity to take 25% off any one of the packages here. 3-day, 7-day, 30-day all access packages. Any combination of that. Take 25% off your cart right now at wagertalk.com. This is good through right around Christmas night at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. Take advantage here, guys. Plenty of bowl action, plenty of college basketball, plenty of NFL still to go, NHL. Dave mentioned he's got his bets up for tonight. Now would be a good opportunity for you guys to hop on board. Don't forget Trig, 5% NFL game also for this weekend ready. Visit wagertalk.com. Visit Adam Trigger, Dave Cokin, and Drew Martin, and use that code GIFT25 at checkout and take 25% off any one of those packages. All right, we got one more day this week here. 4 more bowls: Alamo Bowl, Mayo Bowl, Sun Bowl, Gator Bowl. We'll break them all down for you tomorrow. And then, of course, next week, it'll be time to talk national championships, playoffs, and all that good stuff. So until tomorrow.
By the way,
go ahead,
quick note. In the Mayo Bowl, both coaches have agreed the winner will accept a Mayo.
No.
They're going to get no Gatorade. They're going to get Mayo.
They're going to get nailed with Mayo?
That's my
That's my
nightmare right there. I would lose on purpose.
Oh, that is just fantastic. Oh, well, good. All right, we got that tomorrow. Maryland, NC State. We'll break it down for you. Until then, on behalf of Dave, Adam, and Drew, guys, appreciate the time. Best of luck with all your plays tonight. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.
In the spirit of the holidays, we want you to celebrate with your favorite Wager Talk or Sports Memo handicappers, and do it at a discount by giving you a one-time 25% off everything you can fit into your cart between now and midnight on December 25th using coupon code GIFT25 when checking out. While this coupon can only be used once at Wager Talk and once at Sports Memo, the value is unlimited and there is no limit on what you can add to your cart when redeeming. Daily, all access, season, pick your team, and even mix and match handicappers, as the combinations are endless. Remember, there is no limit to the number of handicappers at Wager Talk and Sports Memo you can lock in, but coupon code GIFT25 will expire at midnight on Christmas. On behalf of everyone at Wager Talk, Sports Memo, and Gold Sheet, we want to thank you for supporting us in 2022 by watching our videos, following us on social media, and trusting us with your wagers. However you celebrate, we wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.